celebrity, right? Celebrity. What is the power that celebrity has? This morning, I woke up to an article that was circulating everywhere about the power of celebrity. We're going to get into it some way for more people to join the chat. Hey, Pablo from Los Angeles. But people like Rihanna, Taylor Swift, Kim Kardashian West, you name it. There's a lot of celebrities that have been using their platform to enact change and to bring results to some pretty hard things. They've actually been more effective in getting their agendas across and accomplishing their goals politically and when it comes to criminal justice reform than elected officials have been. And we've seen that now that Congress can't seem to get it together on a myriad of things from unemployment to the postal service to just everyday occurrences of how we move through the world here as American citizens. But this article this morning was that of Corey C. Miller. Hey, Peter, great to see you too. Corey Miller, also known as C Murder, is a rapper from the No Limit camp down in New Orleans. Grew up on No Limit, Master P, Silk Shocker. If you're Gen X or you are all aware of No Limit. But in 2002, a fan was murdered at an event that he was at. In 2009, he was convicted of this murder. Now, this murder was 10 to 2. So 10 people decided that he was guilty, whereas 2 people didn't. So he was found guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison. He's maintained his innocence since then. Mind you, it's been over, 12 years since 2009. He's been in jail for over a decade. Kim Kardashian West and Monica Arnold, who's known as Monica, she's an R&B singer who had been dating Corey Miller, are saying that his case needs to be reopened, that he has been wrongfully accused of this crime. Since his conviction, there has been recanting from witnesses, and new evidence has come forward to show that his innocence is definitely paramount, but yet his case hasn't been reopened. And this got me thinking about the power of celebrity, because we know that Kim Kardashian West has been pretty vocal in her quest to get people out of prison. Clemency, her name should be Kim Kardashian Clemency West, because she's been very successful in that. And mind you, Alice Marie Johnson, who had served, I think, over 20 years of a life sentence for a non-violent first offense drug offense. She was sentenced to life in prison for a non-violent drug offense. So Kim Kardashian took it all the way up to President Trump, and she was pardoned. 17 other people Kim Kardashian has helped to get out of prison via clemency. So the conversation is the power of celebrity, right? How powerful is it? And are celebrities the new frontier when it comes to criminal justice reform? It's an interesting thing. I mean, someone like Kim K, who is a reality star, who was someone who was thrust into the zeitgeist via a sex tape in 2007 with R&B singer Ray J, has built this billion-dollar empire, has millions of followers on any given social media platform, decides one day, hey, something's not right. Enter Cyntoia Brown, sentenced to life in prison at 16 years old for what she alleges is self-defense against a 43-year-old man who she felt was going to hurt her while she was being sex trafficked at a young age. Prosecutors found her competent, sentenced her to life in prison. She served well over 20 years in jail. I'm sorry, 15 years in jail, I apologize. And because of celebrities like Rihanna, Kim Kardashian, and a myriad of other ones spoke out using their platform, she was pardoned, rightfully so. So it's like, are we needing to lean into celebrities for people to do the right thing? And why do we give celebrities the power to make these decisions just because of the job they do? It's like Beyonce, who was a singer, multiple Grammys, millions of albums sold, fantastic performer, but that's just a job she does. This is a job she does. She gets up. I mean, she chose that job. That's like me working at Starbucks and saying, hey, you know what? I should be lauded and celebrated because I make coffee every day, which Starbucks baristas should. They're amazing people. But celebrity, for some reason, we give them a lot of responsibility and we give them a lot of power. So, I mean, if someone like Kim Kardashian can effectively get people out of prison, people of color out of prison who we know has the book thrown at them exponentially more than their non-POC counterparts for a myriad of low-level crimes, are celebrities who we need to turn to in the future to get other things done? What do you guys think? Let's see the comments. Amber Young says celebrities have a halo effect in psychology where people have a positive impression of them that extends different areas. For every good example, there is the ultimate downside of having a celebrity president who is arguably one of the worst things that has happened to this country in years. I would agree. I would agree. Peter asks, what about celebrities in the UN as UN goodwill ambassadors? I think, Peter, that's a great question. I think celebrities absolutely can be UN ambassadors. I think if you educate yourself, for decades, Jane Fonda, there's just the list goes on of celebrities who have spoken out about things, climate change, Leonardo DiCaprio, Cameron Diaz. They speak out about things because they're well versed. They vetted the initiatives. They vetted the issues, and they've attached themselves to them because they wholeheartedly, authentically, passionately believe that they can enact change, right? That they can be the ones that make a difference and make a change. So UN ambassadors, that's yeah. I don't liken that to people, the severity of getting someone out of jail who's been wrongly accused of murder. However, I do think that any kind of good that a celebrity can do that helps a myriad of people on all fronts is a good thing. So yeah, UN ambassadors is great. Ellie asks, do you think celebrities have duty to be active and use their platforms? That is a fantastic question, and that is a conversation that a lot of people are having in regards to what's happening now in 2020 with civil unrest, social injustice, racism, anything that's affecting people. And I think, yes, they should, because that is a community that they have that has people in their community who is waiting to hear their opinion, who is influenced by their opinion. And so if you can have a positive influence and get those people to see where you're coming from, the results from that can be very positive, can be very far reaching. So yes, I do think anyone with a platform, whether it's 50 million followers, subscribers, you name it, or 50,000 or 5,000 or 500, any size platform, there's going to be someone willing to listen. And that's what we're trying to have happen, is people listen and have conversations and come to accordance and come to an agreement on these issues, right? Amber says, I think there's a lot of performative activism from celebrities, though. They just jump on the bandwagon and don't think for themselves. Amber, I think there's a lot of performative everything right now. Corporations who, let's enter Black Lives Matter real quick. Corporations who have never shown any kind of support for people of color openly have historically had a history of racism, a history of bad behavior, a history of exclusion, not inclusion, a history of lack of diversity. All of a sudden, because thrust to the forefront passionately was Black Lives Matter, as it should be, and so they felt they have to post a black box. They have to do this sweeping, actionable statement to stand in solidarity when they should have been doing that on a lower level in a myriad of different other ways, like in creative meetings and initiatives at work and outreach for their employees, stuff like that. So I think a lot of things are performative now, and people are feeling guilty for not engaging, even if their intention isn't good. So I think that's the trendy thing. But there are some celebrities, Kim Kardashian West, who I firmly believe actually cares about this, obviously, because she's willing to risk her brand. Aligning yourself with Trump in some capacity can be detrimental to your brand. Those are the facts in 2020. She's willing to risk her brand to go to Capitol Hill, to go to the White House, and talk about criminal justice reform. She had an Oxygen special this past January, I think, or April, earlier this spring, that chronicalized and really detailed her journey, documented her journey into the work she's doing for criminal justice reform. So she's a great example of a celebrity who's saying, hey, I have this platform. I truly feel something about this. Let me do something. So, Ellie, are there other celebrities who you have been inspired by? You know what? There isn't at the moment. I will say this, though. Who has been very vocal? Gabrielle Union is someone who I have been very inspired. I won't say inspired by, but I have been following her journey after she exited NBC and wasn't afraid to call out NBC, Fremantle, and Psycho, which is Simon Cowell's production company who produced America's Got Talent, for what she alleges is blatant racism and poor behavior on set. I think when you are a whistleblower, you run the risk of, especially in Hollywood, damaging your career, damaging your reputation, because people don't want to be associated with problems, coupled with the fact that she is a black woman, and people love to throw the angry black woman moniker and tattoo and guise and outfit on a woman who speaks her truth. And sometimes you have to speak your truth. More times than not, you have to speak your truth. So Gabrielle Union's absolutely been someone who I've been loving what she's been saying on social media in regards to what's happening. But when do we take back the power from celebrities? And celebrities, how do we hold them accountable when they abuse it? Right. Luckily, in regards to criminal justice reform, it's been refreshing to see people like Kim K and Rihanna and LeBron James and just so many people say enough's enough. Enough's enough. But how do we moderate and how do we rein in celebrities who get too much power? Kanye West, right? Kanye West, to me, was one of the most, is one of the most genius rappers and artists of my time. The first 3 albums, he was saying things that we were all thinking, but we're too afraid to say back then, right? And we saw this journey with 808s and Heartbreak and My Dark Twisted Fantasy, and just every album he's put out, he's just upped the ante and has evolved into this beast of an artist. But we've also seen him do some pretty, I would say, with some people in the black community, are saying some damaging things for people of color. Aligning himself with Trump, who people feel is a racist, who people feel is xenophobic, transphobic, white supremacist. So how do we rein in celebrities when they go too far right? And not too far right politically, but too far, instead of being even killed, not saying they're centrist, but being even killed and just staying in the middle, but doing the good work. And same thing goes for people who are either far left or far right. How do we rein them in? How do we say, okay, whoa, pump the brakes? Because with great power comes great responsibility. Let's see. Anyways, that was something that I was thinking about today because, I mean, Corey Miller's been in prison for well over a decade, and things have changed. The way according to his article in CNN, the way people are convicted, what has to happen for a conviction has changed. And so now, how do we take steps back and help this person? How do we help all these people who are serving sentences that they feel and that many feel aren't just, especially when they're first time offenses? Cyntoia Brown was sex trafficked at a young age. She alleges that she shot the 43-year-old man because he was going to hurt her, and she couldn't return back to her pimp. Cutthroat was his name. Her pimp, Cutthroat, without the money that she was sent to secure by having sexual relations with this man at that young age. But yet the courts found her competent as a young girl, and they prosecuted her for a life sentence, and granted her and handed her down a life sentence for her, which she, I have to say, alleges self-defense. Luckily, she was released, but you can't give back 15 years. And the trauma, what happens when they're released, when they reemerge into the real world and have to not only have the media place this scarlet letter on them, but have the media pry into their life, ask them questions. But how do they heal from that trauma? Rape, incarceration, and now you have to go back in the world and try to have some sort of a life. Sure, there's book deals. Sure, there's money. Sure, there's appearances on The View. But how do you reemerge? How do you heal from that? Let's see here. Two Life Crew says, who sets the boundaries? Great question. Who sets the boundaries, right? Is it the jury? And I'm not an attorney. I'm not a doctor of jurisprudence. I'm not a lawyer. So I'm sure those are questions you want to ask a lawyer. But again, it's a great question, though. And in the case of Corey Miller, C murder, people allege that the jury was put under immense pressure and duress to convict him. So systemic racism enters there. Another thing working against you. So is the glitz and glamour of celebrity enough to get somebody off? The college admission scandal, Felicity Huffman, Lori Loughlin, Massimo Giannulli, I'm not saying I'm glad to see that the Giannulli and Lachlan are getting what they deserve per what people feel, but it's great to know that they're not being let off the hook because one of their privilege and because of their celebrity, because it works both ways. And I think that some people are, maybe, I'm sure there's some judges and some juries that are enamored and rhapsodize over celebrity and the celebrity that's talking, or the celebrity that's on the stand, or the celebrity that's adjacent or deep within the case, or the court, or the prosecution, or anything of that nature. But there are people who can see past that and think, nope, I don't care what you do. And that goes back to me saying, because Beyonce's a singer, we give her special passes. No, we don't. Because Mariah Carey's a 5-time Grammy Award-winning pop megastar, does she get a pass? No, she doesn't. Because Janet Jackson sold over 170 million albums, has this 30-year career, does she get a pass? No, she doesn't. But it's good to see celebrities who aren't afraid to use their platform for good, regardless of the backlash. And I got to hand it to Kim Kardashian. Regardless of what you want to say about her and the family, and there's a lot to say about her and the family, she still is like, this is what's right, this is what I'm going to do, and here's how I'm going to do it, and I have the resources to do it. So let's do it. And I think there's something to be said about that. Ellie asks, it's been interesting to see celebs like Nick Cannon who have decided to, instead of getting defensive, have decided to educate himself on anti-Semitism. Do you think there's a lack of this kind of behavior? Great question again. And it goes back to celebrities who give obligatory apologies. Some of these apologies are well crafted by publicists who say this is what you're going to say, because we know that a lot of celebrities have teams of people who create and make sure and facilitate and babysit and handle their public image. And that means from what they wear, to who they're seen with, to pictures, to alerting paparazzi to certain hotspots they're going to be at for a photo op, to making sure their statements that are released publicly are on point, well crafted, and hit all marks. Nick Cannon, I think it's great that he wants to educate himself on anti-Semitism, but Nick Cannon's also a smart guy. And a lot of people who say, I want to do better, I'm going to take this class or that class. That's just what they've been told to say. I don't know what Nick Cannon's doing behind closed doors. I don't know what a lot of people who've been accused of egregious things are doing behind closed doors. But some of those statements they make are just what they've been told to say. Where's the action after that? All will be revealed, right? We don't get there. We don't get to see that. Grey's Anatomy, back in 2007, Isaiah Washington was removed from the show after what TK Knight, who played George O'Malley on the show, said that Isaiah Washington was using words like faggot on set, which is, of course, is a disgusting derogatory term used against LGBTQ plus people. And so Isaiah Washington says, I'm doing the work, I'm getting educated, cool. But it's like, did we not know you weren't supposed to say that initially? You've been alive long enough to know that you don't call people that, or you don't use that kind of language in public. I mean, whatever you want to do in private, that's up to you. But in public, you don't hurl those kind of epithets at people. So getting back to your question, those apologies and those statements, I think it's great they want to do those things in theory, but it's like, when will we see the results of that? If ever, will we see the results of that? Yeah, it's interesting about celebrity. It really is. I wrestle with celebrity. I wrestle with influencers, with all the power we give people on these platforms to make decisions that have a heavy weight and have a lot of magnitude. So we'll see. That article I read today was on CNN.com in their entertainment file. Give it a whirl, and also, if you can, read about Cyntoia Brown. Read about Alice Marie Johnson. Read about these people who have been aided by celebrities to get out of prison and start new lives. With Kim Kardashian, she also ushered in new policy, the First Step programs with Trump, about having people get back into society, as I said, and have resources to reemerge back into the workplace. Kim Kardashian also partnered with Uber to make sure that these people, after they get out of prison, have transportation to get to and from job interviews and prospect job offers. That's cool. You can't hate on that. That's indicative of what celebrities should be doing, and more people are doing that. And I think that it's not going to be a trend. It's not going to be this moment in time. They say it's not a moment, it's a movement. I think what Kim has started is a movement. Whether it's lengthy or not, which it probably will be, results and the fruits of that labor of the movement are going to come down eventually. All right, you guys. Jason Carty here from Miami for Haps TV. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you guys download the app, and I will see you guys soon.